everybody. My dad thinks his podcast is amazing, so please subscribe, give it 5 stars or whatever, and maybe he'll finally stop talking about it. Anyways, welcome to Sobriety.
Hello. Happy Sunday Fun Day.
Sunday Fun Day.
Sunday Fun Day.
We're here.
Yeah.
Back to doing a podcast together.
Just
the two of us.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Hey, everybody. We have no guests today. We are the guests.
We are the guests.
We are the special guest.
And actually, I want to take just a quick minute to thank everybody, literally. The response, the reaction, the downloads, the likes, everything that we've gotten off this podcast over the past couple months has just been nothing less than remarkable, to say the least. The whole sober community, even outside the sober community, people reaching out to me, to you, about the podcast has been just, this started out as a concept, just kind of as a goof. I brought it up to a group of people and they said, yeah, we'd listen to it, bringing on Jessica and just talking about everyday sobriety stuff. And you really made it happen. I mean, you've done really the hard work. I've just kind of sat behind the microphone and yapped. So thank you for all your hard work, because you've definitely made this happen. But we do want to thank everybody that's listened and watched. We're growing certain things like a YouTube channel that Jessica's really working hard on, producer Jessica, I should say. And there's a lot more things to come. We have a lot more guests coming, but today we just kind of wanted to catch up with us and let everybody know what's going on. And again, just say a big thank you to everybody out there, man. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. We've had some really good guests.
Some great ones, for sure. The thing that and I'm hoping a lot of people are listening to the very end of the podcast, because to me the best part is the peace stories. I can't get enough of it. I mean, at some point we got to do like a best of, right? And just put like all the
what
stories
I think we should
together.
do is I think we should like open it up, and anybody's listening to the podcast, they should like email in or DM on Instagram.
That's a great idea.
Their best peace story. And the guests are sober guests.
Absolutely,
right? And they're talking about their sobriety. Yeah. But I think that anybody, you don't have to be drunk. You don't have to be, if you're sober and like pissing yourself, that's almost even.
Kind of is a little bit better.
Yeah. It could even be a shit your pants story.
Yeah.
Get creative.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. So if anybody out there listening wants to DM us on Instagram, you can Instagram us at Recovery Ryan or at Sober.
It's sober.as.fck.
There you go. You can go ahead and shoot us a DM and send us your stories. We'd appreciate it. We'll try to read the best ones on air for sure.
Mm-hmm. They are good stories. And it's funny because, and I think I told the origin of the peace story, like how it came to be, but just kind of to recap, we went to Dallas. My brother's sober as well. And we were hanging out with a bunch of his sober friends. And I told a funny peace story about you, thinking that it was going to be like, everybody's going to be like, ha, ha, ha. And they're like, yeah, that's like a normal day in my drunken life, pissing on random things. Speaking of which, instead of leaving it for the end, Ryan, tell us your best drunken peace story. We'll just get it out in the beginning.
Well, I have quite a few, so I'm a habitual kind of peer. But for some reason, I really love hotels. That was kind of my thing. So I've got 2 in hotels. And the funny thing is, if you're a guy, anytime you've gone into a bathroom with someone kind of older, they kind of do this thing where they go up to the urinal and they slap a hand up and then unzip and go, right? So you're just kind of keeping your balance, basically, I guess, is kind of what it is.
If you're drunk, sure.
Sure. So twice I remember that I can once I was told about it. The other time I like vaguely remember what happened. Both were a good good friend, a friend of mine that's no longer with us, unfortunately. But we went to Vegas. It was kind of like a little guys trip, and we were staying at a pretty damn nice hotel, very high floor. And I remember I had to go. I couldn't wait. We got off the elevator, and some stupid idiot in Vegas had put 2 plants by the elevator, or where the elevators are. It's not just a single elevator. There's like 6 or 8. And I couldn't wait, because if you've been in Vegas and you've been to a room, most times they're like a mile to walk to the motherfucker. I mean, it takes forever. I wasn't going to wait. I wasn't about to pee my pants. So I pulled the classic Stewie at the time, slapped the hand up on the wall, and just urinated right there in the plant. I'm sure there was people around, or people getting on and off the elevator.
Cameras in the hallway.
There's cameras everywhere, so I'm sure they got a good little, little video of that. I'm sure they got a good laugh out of it. But that was a good one. And the other one was kind of just private in the room. Again, with me and my buddy, we're staying together. And I pulled the same thing in a corner, where I slapped the hand on the wall, and he was yelling at me because I was pissing in the corner, not really realizing what I was doing. So it was like a sleepwalking type deal. Yeah, and I just slapped in the corner. I was letting it all hang out in one of my crazy old drunken nights.
I feel like, though, if you're in Vegas, that probably is not as interesting of a story. Like, can you imagine all of the bodily fluids in Vegas? Like,
it's all over the fucking streets.
If you could get like a big, huge, like black light from like a sci-fi movie and hover it over Vegas,
yeah, you wouldn't want to do that.
My favorite pee story of yours is we are in Asheville, North Carolina. We're visiting the Biltmore. We're staying in a room. And I think it was an anniversary or something, because you had like champagne and roses and all this stuff set
We
up.
were there for our anniversary. I remember that.
Right.
Yep.
And we get back to the room, and per usual, you're extremely drunk, right? Like, just going from laughing, having a good time, to like whatever. And you know how, okay, if you have dogs, you'll understand this. You know how dogs, like, when they're getting ready to take a shit or pee, they like walk in a circle. You know what I'm talking about? They like walk and they're sniffing.
Sniff test.
And you can tell, because we'll look at our dogs and we'll like clap and be like, no, outside. You like come in and you're like walking in a circle, and you even do the little butt shimmy shake thing, and you just start pissing in the middle of the floor. And the thing is the bathroom was like right there. And I said, Ryan, what are you doing? And you just acted like it was like a normal fucking Tuesday.
I think it was marking my territory.
I was like, this is not happening. And the thing is, too, and then the room proceeded to smell like piss the rest of the time. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the next morning you were like, it smells like piss in here. And I was like, right. Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It does.
That was me.
It was you. It was you. And then, like, I think after you were done pissing in the floor, you did one of your classic Ryan, like, laughed at yourself. Like, good job. Like, I was like, okay, so
I'm my own entertainment. What can I say?
Yeah. You and hotels. We probably shouldn't air this, though, because every hotel now, they're going to be like, if they
I'll have to check in under a different name, I think.
An alias. What would your alias be?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that.
We'll have to think about that. That would be fun.
Probably Kenny Powers. Everybody used to.
Oh my god.
Used to compare me to Kenny Powers. I used to have a goatee. I don't know if a lot of people remember me with that. When I first started my sobriety, it took me about 4 months before I shaved it off.
Mm-hmm.
But I was obviously a lot bigger, fuller in the face, and I had the goatee and.
I have a picture. You remember where we went somewhere, some bar in Nashville or somewhere. I can't remember. And there was a picture of him up on the wall. I have to find that picture. I have to find that picture and post it where you're like doing the whole like Kenny Powers, like whatever it is.
Yeah. I always had, and actually it was funny. You bought me a shirt. I was going to dress up as him for Halloween. It was one of those Blink If You Want Me shirts or whatever.
I have so many good Halloween ideas.
Yeah. You do. Well, actually, I don't think we're going to be on this earth long enough to actually fulfill them out, unless we did like 5
Well,
Halloweens
considering the fact that it took me 14 years to get you to finally like cave and succumb to just one of my billion ideas, probably not.
Yeah, I'm doing it this year.
You don't get credit.
I deserve a little bit.
No.
I mean, Jesus.
No.
Anyway,
you.
moving on. Let's
Mhm.
move back to travel. So we went to Asheville, right? We were talking about that for anniversary. We literally just got back from a short vacation. It was short because of the hurricane, unfortunately, and I'm glad all my friends in Florida got through it well. Obviously, there's a lot of damage from the winds and shit like that.
A lot of people don't have homes.
But, all the people that I know are safe, and thank God for that. But so anytime we come back from a vacation, I'm quick to move on to, okay, we're back home. Let's move on to everyday life, right? So that entails, let's unpack the car, bring everything in, sort out to the different rooms it needs to go to. And I unpack my luggage. If I have clean stuff, I put it away. My dirty stuff goes in the dirty laundry. And I proceed to do laundry. But I've always noticed, this time was a little different, but normally when you bring your suitcases in, you put them by the bed, you will open them up, but it takes about a week to unload it.
Mm-hmm.
Takes you a couple hours to load it, but a week to unload it. So what's up with that? I don't get it.
I don't understand. What's the problem?
Just to me, I would think when you got home, you would want to get your clothes clean. Okay. You'd want to take your clean clothes and put them away. So I guess my inquiring mind wants to know, what's up with that? Why does it take like a week to get your stuff? And I've actually, to the point, a couple times, I got so frustrated with the laundry, the suitcases sitting there, because you packed up the whole dresser, by the way, that I just put the shit away for you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was intended, like I'm going to watch this asshole do it, or if something else was going on that I don't know about.
That was a really long-winded way to ask me a very simple question.
Sorry.
So, piggybacking off, the same way it takes you 10 years to ask me a question, it takes me 10 years to unpack a suitcase, right? So, I think that the vast majority of people who are listening to this podcast right now are laughing and already know what I'm going to say because they identify. But I'll give you a long-winded answer, okay? Number one, let's start with the packing multiple suitcases in the entire closet. I fully recognize that I only need a certain amount of clothing, okay? I like to have options. And I have packing anxiety. Like, well, what if I need to change in the middle of the day? What is the weather going to be like? Are we going to go out at night? Are we going to go out in the morning? What if I get chilly? What if I piss myself? What if I decide to piss my pants in the middle of vacation? I'm going to need more underwear. So it just makes me feel better to pack a lot of stuff. Okay? It's so much easier and less stressful to shove a bunch of shit in a suitcase so that I have it rather than sit there and try to figure out what I'm going to take. Because if I sit there and I have my closet and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to take and what I'm going to leave, I just get lost in the shuffle. Again, this is my ADHD mind. It's like, do I want this? Do I want this? Do I want this? Do I want this? Rather than taking a week to pack, I'll just throw it all in the suitcase and figure it out later.
But that I've gotten used to that, right? So I expect that. I know when we go on vacation, everything in your dresser is literally going into
you should be used to all of
I just don't understand I can't unpack my suitcase. Okay.
So then let's talk about that too. Mm-hmm. So when we plan a vacation, the ADHD anxiety starts the moment we start planning. Okay. So it's not just we're going on vacation. Again, I use this as the shower analogy. How many tasks is taking a shower? For you, it's one, maybe three. I'll say it's for you. It is the undressing, showering, post shower. It's maybe 3 tasks for you. For me, it is 30. Add a 0 to the end of that, right? Traveling, from the moment we plan to the moment the last thing is put away is a million tasks. So the packing, already got that, right? Then the planning. So just when are we leaving? What time are we leaving? Well, are we going to stop? Are we going to fly? Are we going to drive? What are we doing? Okay. And it's weird because when you're ADHD, I thrive on a plan, but the act of even making the plan, that's 50 tasks right there.
Okay.
So before the room is even booked, before the vacation is even paid for, before the suitcase even comes out, I'm like 50 tasks in deep. Okay? Just in my head.
Right.
This is all just internal happening in my head. So that's that, right? And then it is, you are the worst because you'll be like, let's go. I'm ready to go. We were supposed to leave 30 minutes ago. You'll say we're going to leave at 2, but we always end up leaving at like 10. And I'm like, wait a minute. I need to know a time. And you'll say, just whenever you're ready. That like,
but I'm afraid if I give you a time, it's going to make you freak out.
I'm going to freak out either way.
But I feel like if I give you like a deadline, like, okay.
If
so
you,
what I've come to
but no, let me
is
finish this. Before you finish
whatever
speaking,
time I want, I will back that time up.
No. See, you're still not getting it. So if you give me a deadline, I'm going to book it into high gear the last like 30 minutes to an hour before we have to leave.
Minutes. I'll say the last.
But you know what?
You book
and everything gets done, and it is done like.
But it's because I somewhat prepare for that.
No. See,
because I set the clock back.
See, you sweet man. That is because you have little to nothing to do with it. I love that you give yourself credit that you think that because you're doing things. I know, honey, I love you, but you have little to nothing to do with the way that this brain up in this big head functions. So anyways, let me get back to point. So then I'm stressed because you've given me until, we'll say 2:00. Okay, so in my mind, I already have this is what I need to do in order to leave at 2. Then you throw in the grenade of, we're leaving at 10. That is like the most traumatic thing that you can do to an ADHD mind. Wait, what? I already had no time and now I have negative no time? Why would you do that to me? Why? Why would you inflict so much pain? No.
I don't know. About
you asked
4
me.
4 hour difference like that.
No. You asked me.
Traffic.
Right. Let's get into that too. So we're in the car, right? And we're packed. And you of all people should know, like, I might freak out the moment it's time to do the thing, but when I'm actively doing the thing, I'm cool as a cucumber. And I like packing the car, like, we can't fit all this. I'm like fucking like Tetris. Like, I fit everything in there like it is perfect. Do you know what I mean? And it pisses you off because you're like, how can you go from such a shambled, like, freak out mode to bam, you got it all figured out. ADHD makes me very creative. So we're in the car. Once we're in the car, the reason I'm cool in the car is because it's like level completed. So that task is complete. When we're in the car, there are no tasks.
No, you can just sit on your phone on TikTok.
But even if I'm driving, there are no tasks. Okay. There are no tasks. So that's why when you're okay, for you, there are a million tasks in the car. This is where it flips. You're like, got to get gas, got to pee 500 times, got to get food. I'm ready to get there. Let's get there. For me, I'm like, that's my time to chill. So when we're sitting in traffic or something, I don't get frustrated.
You never do.
No,
which surprises the shit out of me.
Because there are no tasks. I'm like sitting here. It's not hindering anything. Like, it's not pushing anything back. It's not hurting anybody. There's nothing that I have to complete. So
I get that.
Like, there's no.
But I don't want to sit in traffic.
No, I get it. I get it. I understand that. And it's not like I'm like, I love sitting in traffic. Like, that's not, nobody likes sitting in traffic. Like. But there's nothing to do. Like, there's no to-do list when you're in the car. So that's why I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, if we get stuck in traffic, we get stuck in traffic. I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. Nobody likes it. But, like, you're just sitting there. Like, listen to a podcast. Listen to an audio
Listen to our podcast.
Hold your wife's hand. Look into her eyes and tell her how beautiful.
Eyes. I'm trying to avoid.
No, we're assuming that we're in stop traffic and tell her how beautiful and wonderful she is. Anyways, So that's why the whole car situation doesn't like wig me out.
Okay.
And then we get to our destination, right? And it's funny because, and I have a theory that people are the exact opposite in a hotel or like in a vacation spot as they are at home. I really want to like look into this because when we get to a hotel, what is the first thing I do?
You unpack.
To perfection.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought about that.
To
Because
perfection.
I literally, and you know this, I live out of my suitcase.
You live like a fucking slob on vacation.
I don't live like a slob.
Yes, you do.
I unzip my suitcase, and it's only because.
Listen to me, you do.
Being like, you used to travel for sports, and every weekend, and I travel now for work. I hang my suits up. I literally unzip my bag, and I'm living.
You live like an animal.
I don't live like an animal.
So
I do put away my toiletries, but that's about it.
This last vacation, we had 2 adjoining rooms, right?
Yes.
I would go into yours. Well, let me say, we were traveling with your granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's 7.
Yep.
So she and I were in one room, and you and Lily were in another room. And me, the ADHD, like neurospicy clusterfuck of a woman, and a 7-year-old, and also ADHD neurodivergent 7-year-old, our room was pristine. The trash even was tidy, right? And she would like she likes everything perfect. I would go in yours and Lily's room. It smelled like a freaking locker room. I was like, oh my God.
That's because I have a 13-year-old in there. I have a smelly 13-year-old.
You're really going to put it all off on her?
Yes, I am 100%.
You're really going to push that all off on her. Okay. Yes. Well, it smelled like sweaty balls and farts.
Well, I work out every morning. So yeah, I can take some of the blame for that. I've had my sweaty ass t-shirt up air drying.
And y'all's trash is like overflowing.
Well,
Me, I would use like our shopping bags. I'm like, oh, that's a perfect little like thing for me to put our trash in. And I would
I don't think about that. I just throw shit in the trash and let it overflow.
Right. Yes. So I have a theory.
I think
that however you
right.
live
I've never thought about that.
At home, you are the exact opposite on vacation. And I also have an explanation for said theory. See, do you see? Like, I'm not even to the meat and potatoes of the vacation yet. Okay. See how many tasks? Do you see how many tasks already?
Yeah, I just want to get to the suitcase at home.
Oh, no.
We've like taken this huge detour.
You think this is a detour?
To me it is, yeah.
Oh, no.
Because I just asked a question.
Right. And this is how long it takes my brain to answer said question.
This is why I don't ask questions.
And you know what? I can see in your head going, how do you get anything done? Remember all the times you'd come home and you would be like, what did you do this week?
There you go.
This is
makes sense.
Anyways.
It's all coming to a head.
So we'll get to the meat and potatoes. I don't even remember what I was going to say, but I have a theory on why it's like that. So at home, that's my safe space.
Right.
I know where everything is. I know how it functions. I can do things without having to think. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if I want to leave my suitcase undone, if I want to live out of a suitcase forever, I mean, you might bitch about it, but it's my house too. I do what I want. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and of course, I
get it. It's your side of the room. You can do whatever the hell you want. I don't give a fuck.
I can do whatever I want all over the house. Just like you can technically do whatever you
It just drives me nuts and I want to put the shit away.
Right, but you aside, it's because it's my safe space.
I get it.
In a hotel room, there's so many unknowns.
Right.
Like, I need to know where everything is. I need to know how to access everything. And I can't have it in shambles because it is a foreign space. It is a foreign space. It is not my home. So I need predictability. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. So we go on the vacation, we do whatever. We always have fun on vacation and that part doesn't matter. And we come home, again, drive home is great because no tasks. Mm-hmm. We get home. So by the time we get home, I'm so overstimulated and peopled out. Mm-hmm. Because when you are ADHD or neurodivergent or on the spectrum, like being in, this is totally serious, not joking, things are really exhausting. Like very, very exhausting. mentally and physically. And so when I get home, I have to recharge. So I'm either one of two ways when I get home. And I think that you'll agree with me on this too, if you think about it. I either get home and immediately unpack everything, again, to perfection, or it takes me 5 to 7 business days.
Yes. It takes 5 to 7 business days.
Right. And I'm
but
like,
you're also exhausted every time we get home too. Like you're
and
ready
it's-
to
and it's
just sit down, watch TV, and kind of
stimulated thing,
relax.
you know,
Yeah.
like we're on vacation and my mind is going tick, 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 tick. I mean, from the moment you're like, you come to me and you go, let's do this on this day.
Mhm.
The time, like that's when, you know, that's the starting line right
Sure,
there.
I get it.
And I don't think we talk about that. Like to bring this back, I know we're joking, but to bring that back to a more serious place, I don't think people talk about that enough. How, you know, they're just like, well, what are you going to do? Never go on vacation? Well, that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is,
I'm just trying to understand it because I know I have my.
well, in all fairness,
mental
I think
issues
that
too,
you do
but
understand it.
It's
I
kind
think
of
you're
funny because I
asking.
never. That is one hell of a great point that I never thought of
Mhm.
about you are the complete opposite as you are at home.
Because I have to make
I know,
sure.
but that's you've never said that to me before. I think that's like one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard.
Well, and I also
because I
think
never
too,
thought about that. I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
and if you really think about it, yeah, that's I mean, it's like really true.
Because at home you have to have everything because, and this is your mind, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't get up at the right time, if you don't check the bank account 500 times a day, I mean, and but seriously, it's like irrational rationality.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's no, it's not like money's just going to go missing, but in your mind, you're like, I got to check it. I got to check it. I got to check it.
I'm a worrywart when it comes to that.
But it roots from the exact same place as packing the whole closet.
I get it.
Like nothing bad's going to happen if I only pack 7 outfits. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like we've worked hard enough in our lives that if my whole suitcase caught on fire, I could go and buy new like clothes. I could go to Target and get some clothes. But just
but
like you.
But what is funny though is you do, you know, the fire drill kind of thing sometimes, and you pack everything up, and then when we get down there, we have to go to a store and buy underwear.
Yeah, so that was a real thing. That was a real thing that happened. So I packed twice in a row, back-to-back vacations.
It was back-to-back.
I packed all the things and packed no bras. I got down there and I took a shower and I'm like in my towel like this and I'm like rummaging around. And
you went, packed up the whole dresser and you forgot two of the most important items.
Yeah. No, just one, just bras.
No, I'm saying, but you did that, and then the next one was underwear. You remember?
No, the next one was bras again. It was the exact same one.
I thought one was underwear.
So now
that was Lily. Lily forgot. If you remember right, we had to go buy her. That's what it was. Yeah.
So now I have a whole titty committee in my drawer because I have so many
of them.
bras. But yeah, and the funny thing is like, again, that goes back to you get so hyper focused that I didn't even think about it. Now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we go again, and I remember I looked at you and I was like,
you know.
I looked at you and I felt like a little kid telling their dad they wrecked their car, you know?
Yeah.
Not because like I was out of fear of you being angry, but I was just like,
because you don't want to tell me because you know I'm going to give you shit for God. Well, it's not just packed up the whole dresser.
I'm like, I recognize how ridiculous this is.
Well, sure.
Yeah, so I looked at you and I was like, you're never going to believe what I did. And you were like, what happened? You were like, did you forget your underwear this time? I was like, oh no, forgot my bras. Again? What is up? So now it's like an ongoing joke. Yes. Like even last time we were like,
that's the first thing I check before we leave.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's all just like we talk about, you know, I know that was long-winded, but it's so true. It's what we talk about with sobriety, with mental health, like it is all you battling yourself.
100%. I agree with that.
Because, you know, it wasn't that I was fearful of going to you.
You're battling between the ears.
Right. It wasn't that I was fearful of going to you going, I forgot my bras again. Like, I mean, I love you, you're my husband, but like you get mad at me and I'm like, whatever, you know? And it's that I have to say the thing out loud and admit that, oh my gosh. And that's the frustrating thing too. Like not talking about anything serious about like drinking or bad behavior, But you do this too, like the just little mundane things that you fuck up like over and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody
Sure.
like over and over and over. And like, don't you have those certain things where you're like, why? Like, how many times am I going to fuck this up or forget this until it finally clicks? But nobody talks about it, you know, because we like sweep it under a rug because we don't want to admit it.
I do that a lot. And it seems like I always do it here at home.
Right.
Where
your comfort zone.
Yeah, because I'll have, like you said, there's a task that I know I've got to do, and I'm on my way to the garage to do said task.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that the dryer went off, laundry needs to be put away, and I'll go do that. And then I thought, fuck, what the hell was I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Or I know I've got to get on my computer and, do something for work. Again, on the way to the computer, I'm hungry. I need to grab something to eat or something to drink real quick. And then I do that, and then I get a message on my phone or an email, and the next thing you know, it's like 2 hours later, I'm like, fuck. I mean, that's what I have reminders literally go off on my phone every day kind of throughout the day, because as soon as I think of something, what I do now is I've taught myself, okay, make a reminder for it. Not in 10 minutes, not in 15 minutes, like 30 minutes, an hour from now, because I know I've got other stuff that will occupy my time. Then I'll get that reminder and I'll be able to go do it.
Uh-huh.
So I've kind of had to teach myself. This is all new revelation shit, by the way. For me, a lot of it's because I've been going to these neurodivergent meetings and listening to people and taking into account like what I do. I'm not diagnosed with anything because I haven't gone to a doctor to do that.
You just haven't gotten to that point.
And I'm sure I have, something in me that's similar to what you have. But I don't know. I haven't been diagnosed with it yet. But as you can see, we have a lot of similarities in a lot of stuff we do.
A ton.
But sometimes I question it because I'm like, you make this seem so hard, but to me it's so easy.
But then there's other things that are so easy to me.
The other way around. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting about the travel stuff. I would have never thought about that.
Well, and two, we are very alike. Like, you have to think, when I'm reading, like, that's something that I've really gotten into big time, because I can and I will say, let me back up. I think that being medicated, for me personally, I'm not pro medication. I'm not anti-medication. I am pro see your doctor and figure your shit out. Yeah. But for me, being medicated, being under a doctor's care and really having a diagnosis has helped me figure out healthy ways to hyperfocus.
Sure.
So you remember this time, like there was a time where I was like cleaning the grout in the bathroom. Do you remember this?
I do remember.
And it was like 2 a.m. and you're like, babe, go to bed. I was like, no, because if I stop, I'm not going to come back to it.
Right.
That's an unhealthy hyperfocus. Like, to be on your hands and knees with a toothbrush cleaning. And this is pre-diagnosis and pre-treatment. Like, with a like, what are you doing? But now I'll hyperfocus on things like the podcast or like reading and things that are healthy. I've learned to find things that are productive and healthy for my mind or my, coordination, whatever it is. And you're the same way. Like, if I'm reading a book and you come in and interrupt me, I give you this like fuck off and die look, right? Because I'm like, you just interrupted my hyperfocus, and I'm about to turn into the freaking sand monster from Beetlejuice and like bite your head off. You do the same thing though. Point in case, this morning, I'm laying in the bed, right? It's Sunday. Like on the weekends, I like to sleep in. And when I say sleep in, I'm usually awake by 7:38, but I like to herkle-durkle. And if you don't know what herkle-durkle is, it's a term that's used for laying around in the bed long after you're supposed to get up. I don't do it during the week, but on the weekends I like to. That right. And so I'm texting you and I'm like, get in here. I'm busy.
I was busy.
Okay, but I just want to point this out. I was like, come in here. I'm in the middle of something. Like, I even, to keep it more like PG rated, I even sent you a little like risque text, to which most men would be like would have just shown up. You sent me a picture of your fucking yogurt in your laptop.
I was working.
I sent you a sexy picture, and you sent me a picture of your yogurt.
Well, I was letting you know I was eating. I was having my morning coffee. I had to take my medicine and stuff. I needed to eat.
Because that's what every girl wants to see
And
when she sends
I'd
a
been
cute,
working out for like
picture.
2.5 hours.
You had showered.
Shower.
You were already showered. You were clean.
I was clean, and I was trying to focus on getting my stuff done because I know we were going to be doing a podcast today, and I just wanted to get my shit done. I came in and snuggled for a little bit.
How long did it take you?
A little while.
Where's my phone?
Probably about 30 or 45 minutes.
Let's see here. Just please hold.
30 to 45 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think it was that long.
Sexy meme. I'm busy right now. From you. And then you said podcast time. Another meme. Funny meme. I'm a meme sender. I am that old lady. Time to snuggle. You send me a meme back that says, let's get to work.
I want to get that work done.
I send you a meme. I need cuddles. You send me a text that says, I need a podcast. Not even a meme, just like a blanket text. And I said, get in here and love me right now. I'm eating, drinking coffee, and getting mentally prepared for the podcast that we should have done yesterday.
Yes.
Snooze
I'm into
fest.
my work. What can
I
I
said,
say?
now. You send... Where's this camera? This is what I get. If you're listening, it is a bowl of yogurt, a cup of coffee, and the computer. And I said, I'm serious. I shouldn't have to beg. Snuggle later. I'm working right now. Finally, you're like, I'll be there in a few.
Well, you know. I eventually caved.
Okay, listen.
Hey, man.
And I'm kidding, right? Like, whatever. But that is, like, it was because, and I don't know that you identified this, you were in the middle of a hyper focus. And then I came in and interrupted it. And with a neurodivergent brain, and I'm not diagnosing you, but you and I have talked about this, and I think eventually you'll go to the doctor and you'll get a diagnosis.
That's my plan, actually, on my visit in November.
Yeah, I think that is inevitable. But I was interrupting your hyperfocus. And when you're a neurodivergent and someone interrupts your hyperfocus, even if it's cute, right? It just is really irritating. And most of the time, it pisses you off. Not you, anyone off.
Yeah, it's a little bit irritating because you're in
the middle of something.
I've talked about this before in podcast. I do a list of things I need to do every day, and now I'm in my phase 3 of 75 hard. So, and I'm like, today's day 4, I think, and you got to do this critical list. Well, I like to get this shit knocked out and done because I know the rest of the day is time for with you and Lily and stuff
football.
like that.
Grocery shopping.
Actually, no, and I want to talk about
cleaning.
Football. No, I want to talk about football in a minute. But with your cowboy shirt on.
My Cowboys.
I didn't wear my Bengal shirt today. Anyway, but I like to get my tasks done when I know, and like you said, am I hyper focused on it? Yeah. Because I got it right in front of me. I want to do it. I want to check it off, be done with it, and I want to move on. And then once I do those and they're fulfilled, then I'm like, everything's good. I'm ready to move on.
Right. So, again, we say everything with a little bit of humor because if you can't laugh at yourself and you can't laugh at your partner...
I think it's funny. I laugh, especially all the shit you said.
That's what I'm going to say, though. But I want to tell people, like, number one, the reason we can joke about these things is because, I don't interrupt your sober stuff.
No, you never do.
And I might send you funny little texts. But if it's something serious, I don't expect you to step away from something that is filling your cup to come and fill mine. Right? And you're the same with me. But I just like to point it out to you because I think that now that you're really like, you've seen the difference in me pre-diagnosis and treatment and post. I mean, it is a world of difference.
Oh yeah, big time.
And now you're sober, so you're starting to be like, oh, fuck, I think that maybe we're more alike than I thought we were. You're able to identify these things. So I always point them out. Like, the reason that you get up and do stuff like that is because it's a million tasks. It's the shower. That's your shower.
Right.
You're Your stuff in the morning, your things are your shower. And you don't realize it, but it's, if you don't get up and do it, it won't get done.
That's true.
Like, I've started taking showers at night. So when we finish the day, and this doesn't work for everybody. When we finish the day, if I come home and I sit on the couch where I relax, the shower's not happening.
Yeah.
That's like you leaving your 75 hard stuff and everything for the end of the day. It's not going to happen.
No, it's got to be done first thing in the morning.
But in the mornings for me, those are my most productive times. So I might lay around in the bed for a while, and I might like to, preheat the oven, so to speak. But you'll have to admit, when I get up, like when I finally get out of the bed, I'm like drinking coffee, getting done. Let's do this and that. And the shower, because it's so many tasks, I put it off because it interrupts the important stuff that I'm trying to do that day. So I try to do something different. So I'm like, okay, if I come home, if I'm coming home at the end of the day, whether it be from work or running errands or whatever we're doing, and I'm still kind of have that motion, kind of like in a car, you know what I mean? You're pushing forward. It takes a minute to stop. If I don't sit down, if I don't finish my day and I just get in the shower and then I sit down, it's done.
Right.
While I'm still moving. What is it called? Not centrifugal force, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's like a science.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. If you hit snooze on the alarm, not going to get done. It all roots from the exact same place. It's a million tasks. So when I come to you and I'm like, come snuggle with me, you're like, if I leave it, I'm not going to come back to it.
Yeah. Or if I do, it's going to be later in the day. It's just going to drive me nuts thinking about it.
Right. And it's the same thing with me. And I think that when you have an understanding, it just makes you more patient with your partner. It makes you realize that, if they do get irritable with you, it's really not about you. You'll be like, hey, babe, come here. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of something. And you'll be like, what are you doing? Doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. I'm picking my butt and I'm right in the middle of it. Leave me alone. Let me finish picking my ass. Like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's the fact that I'm in the middle of a task and you're asking me to remove myself from that task, come and tend to you. I'll never make it back. I'll never make it back to complete that. It's the exact same thing. So rather than I'm not talking to you, but like, rather than asking someone, well, what are you doing? Because when you ask that question, you're asking someone to justify why what they're doing is so important that they can't stop it to cater to your needs. And that's not reasonable. That's not reasonable.
Makes sense. I want to talk about sports. I'm going to segue.
Therapy session with
Jesse. I got to talk about sports now.
No, that's fine. Anyways.
Because I've been meaning to talk about this since football started. But, we've had guests on and we haven't, really done one, just you and I. Yeah. I have noticed such a huge change this year.
Like with you in sports or with sports?
With me in sports.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Majorly. And it didn't really hit me until maybe like a couple weeks in the football season. I'm an avid football fan. At least I thought I was. Even last year, I was like 6 months sober, around that time or whatever. But I still prioritize Sundays for football or Saturdays. Football. But I still prioritize it. I noticed this year, I don't give 2 fucks about what's going on in football. Now, will I go to a game? Absolutely. Will I watch it if it's convenient on TV? Absolutely. I don't go out of my way to do shit for sports anymore. It is the wildest thing. It has cleared up so much space in my head. It's not even funny.
Well, because you're not drinking, and I think that.
Well, and that's what I attribute it to, right? Because even last year, and I'm still, trust me, I'm almost 18 months in. I'm still young and new in this, right? Because I did 30 years of fucking damage. 18 months is nothing, right? To try to clear up 18 years, but I feel like it was just the excuse, right? It kept me at the bar or the restaurant or whatever to get another drink because I got to see the end of the game.
Kept you hyper focused on
something.
Kept me
hyper focused on something. Where now, it's funny. Everything's second nature.
And you don't have money on these games that you're constantly.
And that's another thing too. When you're not gambling, you're like, does it really fucking matter that my team? Honestly, Carson and I went to Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago and we lost. But being at the game and being able to see this up and coming quarterback for the Commanders, who's incredible, by the way. And, being able to see Joe Burrow and the precision of the guys and being present, right? instead of sitting there drinking pregame, all fucking day for an 8 o'clock game and going in and not remembering anything, being able to be present and experience that sober was just, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And even like tonight, they have a game tonight. It's a late game. It's like 8:20. Am I going to watch the whole thing?
No, you'll
No,
watch
I
some
won't.
of it though.
But I'll watch some of it. Where it used to, I'd stay up till midnight watching a game. Now at
Or you'll do your
9:30,
classic
10.
Ryan. You'll have the game in the bed.
No, I'll turn it off now.
No, but you
I
still
turn
do
it
that
off.
sometimes. You'll keep it on if it's like a
Oh,
really
yeah,
good
it's like,
game or
turns it
something.
off.
And I'll be like, babe, turn the TV up. You're like, what's the score?
That's right.
What's the score?
Or I'm
Okay.
watching it. It's fourth quarter. It's like third quarter with a bunch of time left.
But that is few and far between.
Yeah, but it's funny now. I turn it off and I'll say I'll get the score in the morning. Last night, Tennessee played. I'm not a huge UT fan, but we live here in Knoxville, and the game went to overtime and it was late, and I went to sleep. I'm like, it's me knowing a score, what's going to happen is not going to change my mood.
It's just a game.
Like it used to. It's just a fucking game. I don't have anything on it. If I find out the score at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, so be it. Who gives a shit? It's not going to change my mood. Which used to, fucking Bengals lost or the Cowboys lost, it was a bad day.
And you were also pretty drunk though, so you have to think about all the layers that contribute to that. It's not that you don't get disappointed.
And now it's like, I get disappointed because my team, made a bonehead play or a
you
stupid
recognize
penalty.
it as something just fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's like going to the arcade and losing a video game.
Yeah, it's just fun. But anyway, I've noticed that big change this year, and it's I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Life's just so much better, and like I said, the space in my head is so much freer because of it. Like I go to bed now not thinking about that shit. I'm just like, lights out. I'm going to work out in the morning. I'll find out what scores in the morning.
Well, you're not drunk. You haven't lost money. With you
great.
in sports too, the alcohol was bad, but I didn't realize how much sports gambling you were doing until later on when you couldn't hide it. And at first it started out as just like $100 here or $50 here. And when you would get really pissed at games, I never said anything to you because what was the point? That would just make you get even more mad.
Worse, yeah.
But a lot of it was you would put like hundreds of dollars on these games. So yeah, of course. I mean, if I throw $1,000 down on a game, you better believe my ass cheeks are clenching. Like, and you just realize when you stop drinking, when you stop using, when you get medicated or get treatment, knowledge is power. It's like, there's some movie with Anne Hathaway and I can't remember what it is, but I always see it like on TikTok, a little clip, and it's so true. And she's bipolar and she's sitting there and she's getting over a manic episode, and somebody finally sits down to her and talks to her. And she's like, no one's ever actually like listened to me. And she's like, it's like an elephant just took 1 foot off my chest. Like the weight is still there,
right?
But it's so much less. Yeah. And I've seen that with you too, because even on vacations, it would be like, we got to get this done. We got to be here or back to the room where there's beer and I have a TV.
And there's a game. Yeah. There's a
game your daughter, your oldest daughter, reached out to you. I don't remember when it was. And she was like, what channel is the Bengals game on? And you were like, I don't know. I'm getting ready for vacation. I'm not even, I'll check the score every once in a while, but I'm not even watching it.
And I'll get on my phone and check scores of games and stuff, during the day. I won't do it at night. But like I said, it's just like, nuts.
I see you watch more of the Ocho.
That is like the best thing in the world.
Than I do real sports.
Once a year, that is like my 2 days of heaven.
You love it.
I don't know what heaven looks like, but to me, it's the Ocho.
I'm the one that introduced you to hobby horsing.
Yeah.
If you don't know what hobby horsing is, it's like, the stick with the horse head on it, and you get one as a kid, you'd ride around and be like, whatever. There is an actual, and I feel like most people
there's a world championship for that.
It's a professional sport, hobby horsing.
Air guitars, like the coolest fucking thing
I think
in the
we
world.
would be great announcers.
I think I'd be a pro at anything when it comes to that stupid shit.
No, I'm saying just like announcers.
Chair pit spitting is one. Skipping rocks is one. Lawnmower races. The slippery stairs is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think that we should have an event once a year at our house because we have a big enough yard out back that we could create sort of like courses, and we should have
Maybe.
people over, and we should. I think it'd be great. No, but I think that what it is to, you just recognize you're so much more aware of where you waste your mental energy.
Yeah.
Because when you finally have worked so hard to get clarity and peace, you're very protective of it. You know, people don't talk enough about, you set boundaries with the people in your life, but you set boundaries with yourself too. And those are the first boundaries you set. You know what I mean? And we've talked about, like, I started working on my mental health 4.5 years ago, long before you started getting sober. And I set those boundaries with you. But you can say, I'm setting a boundary with you. Like, it has to be an action.
You got to do it.
Where it was, I'm doing this regardless of how you react to it. And this is something silly, but like recently I went and got like Botox and some filler because I wanted to do it. And you give me, like, you know, you play with me about it, but I do it regardless of what you think of it. If I can afford it, because I know money isn't a thing, I'm going to do it. And that's a silly comparison, but it's also not. It's about, like, you do the things that make you feel good. And I'm not saying like you should go get Botox or filler. I'm just saying things that you make you feel fulfilled, that you want to do, regardless of what someone else thinks about it, so long as you're not hurting other people. And that's a boundary you set with yourself more than other people, because so often we're like, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this because I want to make this person happy, or I don't want to disappoint this person.
I was a big people pleasing, used to be huge for me. And I don't, you know, I've noticed you've changed that too. We don't fucking care. We kind of do our own, we don't do our own thing, but again, we're not out to hurt anybody, but we've also kind of set boundaries like, no, I don't need to get involved in that. I don't need to mentally, you know, think about these issues. You know, I just got done reading this book, The Art of Saying No.
Oh, yes, I know.
I swear it's changed.
He's like, I'm going to practice it. No, I'm not going to do that.
But it's funny because, you know, and I literally just finished the book a couple days ago. I say it's changed my life a little bit, because it kind of has, because it's not only about, you know, saying no to a family member, a spouse, coworker, a boss, your kids.
Say no to yourself too.
Saying no to yourself was the biggest thing. And that's kind of like towards the end of the book. But reading through over that chapter about saying no to yourself, I was like, wow. I mean, it was really a lot of eye-opening stuff. And it's funny, I talk about, you know, all this shit's always rented space in my head. You know, like the sports thing. I've got all this free space now, or free bandwidth. I guess
you can come snuggle in the bed with your wife when she
I still have other stuff to do. And I said no this morning for a little while. But it's kind of neat telling yourself no sometimes. You know, you're maybe pushing your limits too far. No, you don't need to do this. You need to relax. No, you don't need to do this. You know, you need to spend more time with your family, whatever. So I've kind of been working on that stuff, but able to read about it was really, cool. It was a game changer. It was a neat book if anyone wants to check it out.
Or even like saying no to yourself when you stop yourself from doing something. Like if you're listening, you hear me have a little lisp. If you're watching, I'm sure you've noticed, but like I got braces. I've wanted to get my teeth fixed for a while. And though you don't have braces, you're working on getting your teeth fixed too. And it seems like you're like, oh, you have such a beautiful smile. I mean, thank you. But you know, saying, no, I'm not going to hinder myself from taking care of myself. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like we've done this. It's not damage, but it kind of is not taking care of small things like,
and we came from families that money wise, what they put into us, that was all they had.
Yeah.
That there wasn't anything left over.
Or prioritized other things.
Right. Yeah. And so we are first generation. I don't equate success with money, but success meaning that we can do the things that we need to do for ourselves, for our kids, whatever it be. And so it took us a really long time to realize, like, okay, we can spend this much on a mortgage for our house. We can spend this much on a car. We can spend this much on alcohol. Or for me, you know, stupid shit, you know. Why are we not spending this money, mental space, energy, time on things that actually
Yeah.
satiate us. You
And
know,
actually help us out. I
Yeah.
mean, for real. I mean, teeth are pretty much your lifeline, especially when you get older.
And too, it's like if you want to do, and I'll encourage, and I think you will too, anybody. If you want to do something, and I don't mean this like, oh, I really want to go do something stupid. I'm talking about something that your inner voice has told you need to do this, whether it be like eating healthy or reading or even something small like emptying out that closet that you keep pushing back or whatever. It could be something big or small. Do it.
Yeah.
Like,
start something
and
small.
it sucks at first. Like there is no, and again, I recognize this is a privileged small problem to have, like, especially right now with the hurricane, there are people who have huge problems, but like, I wasn't exactly skipping into the dentist to go get braces at almost 40, but I was so proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah.
You know, my mom passed away never getting her teeth fixed, and it was the one thing she always wanted to do. And she taught me to take care of myself. And the same thing for you. Like, it wasn't easy having to look in the mirror and go, I am like inching on 50. And I'm just now saying I need to stop drinking. Like I'm a 19-year-old. Like, what am I doing? But there is no age limit on taking care of yourself and starting.
No.
There is no age limit on it. You know, like
whether you're 21 or 80, I mean, whatever, gets you in a better headspace, better mentally, physically, just.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is the time's going to keep ticking on. You're going to be 50, 60, 70, 80, no matter what. And I think for us, it just took us a while, but like, I want to be able to keep up. I mean, if something happens, something happens. It's beyond my control or your control. But man, like, I want to be able to travel still. I want to be able to teach my daughter, our kids, you take care of yourself no matter what age it is.
Yeah.
And prioritize your health. So to close out this podcast, I have a challenge for both of us. And I haven't even told you about this yet, but I've had it on my mind and I kind of want to catch you off guard.
I love a good challenge.
I mean, it's kind of a weird challenge, but it's fine. I think that we should give each other something to challenge the other person, something to work on, not criticism, but I think that we should challenge each other to step outside and just push ourselves a little further.
Outside their comfort zone.
Yeah, and not something that benefits each other. Something that is solely like, I challenge you to do. I know. Something that challenges each other just to benefit them, that person.
Okay.
I can give you a moment of silence if you need to think of something.
All I need to think of, I'm not going to think of anything in the next few minutes, I promise.
Why? I already have like 50 things.
Well, that's because you thought of it. You just sprung it on me 30 seconds ago. You know I can't do that.
Sure you can.
I'm spontaneous about certain things, but nothing like that.
Why not?
Because I'm not. You know me better than that.
I have a challenge for you. I'm going to go ahead and give you mine. You can shake your head. It's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
I challenge you to stop talking to yourself so badly. And I've noticed this recently. And I don't think I really noticed it as much until we had that podcast with Tyler. So thank you, Tyler. When you do something, and I've heard you say it a lot recently, you're like, man, I'm a fucking idiot. Or God, what the fuck was I thinking? I challenge you in those moments to stop talking to yourself like that, because you're not a fucking idiot and you're not fucking stupid.
Okay.
You're just a human being.
I will definitely try. I will challenge myself to do that.
So do I get to like pop you on the hand or make you go pick a switch or something if you talk to yourself like that?
Yeah, I'll go get a
So
switch.
There has to be a consequence. There has to be a consequence, because there's no change
back
behavior
like
without
7, 8
consequence.
years old.
So I get to pinch you every time you talk bad about yourself.
Okay. You say so.
Now, to give you homework, you got to think of something for our next podcast.
And I'll release it on the next podcast. I'll say what it is.
And I challenge all of you to do the same things. Thank you, Tyler. Don't talk like shit to yourself.
Yeah, don't talk bad about yourself.
If you wouldn't say
I am really bad about that.
Yeah. If you wouldn't say it to like a random old lady on the street, don't say it to yourself.
All right. Cool.
We love you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you. Seriously,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Really appreciate it. Great podcast. Good job, Jessica.
High five.
To
All
many
right.
more. See
Bye,
you guys.
guys.
See you. If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell to get
Boom.
notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby.